Okay, so for my coaster today, I'm going to use this cream color, just some scrap yarn I have laying around, and then this kind of a heathered brown pumpkin color. Looking at my graph, I'm going to use, for my main color, it's going to be the cream, and then for the color indicated for every other row on this chart, it's green, but I will be using the brown color of yarn. So as you can see, you start with stitch 1 and work 22 single crochets. So I've actually already done that, just because it's just a basic row of foundation stitches. Again, if you don't know how to work a foundation stitch, please check the link below. I have a tutorial on how to work all foundation stitches. So here I started with 22 foundation single crochets, and then when I get to the end of the row, you're just going to finish off, cut the yarn, and then you're ready for row 2. When I crochet Mosaic Crochet, I am a paper and pen type of person. I like to be able to keep track of exactly where I'm at. So I've just completed row 1 in my cream color yarn. So I'm actually going to draw a line through this row. Doesn't have to be pretty, just a line so that I know that this row has been completed. And then I can move up to row 2. Now row 2 indicates that we are going to start with a colored, or our alternating color of yarn. So if we move this up to row 2, you can see that we're going to start with our green color of yarn, or our alternating color of yarn. And if you look all the way across the row, there are no arrows. So that means each stitch will be a back loop single crochet, with the exception of the first and the last stitch, which is always a traditional single crochet. So we're going to take our crochet piece, insert your hook into the top of the first stitch there, grab your alternating color of yarn, and join with a slip stitch. Now work a traditional single crochet, excuse me, working through both loops of yarn. So you've got your front and your back loop, and complete a single crochet. Now for each remaining stitch across the row until you get to the end, or to the final stitch, will be a back loop single crochet. So only grab the back loop and work your single crochet, which will leave that front loop open for future rows. So back loop single crochet all the way across the row, and I'll meet you at the end of the row. Okay, I have completed row 2, working the back loop only. As you can see, there's the front loop is unworked, all the way to the last stitch of the row. The last stitch of the row, again, will always be worked as a regular single crochet. So grab the front and the back loop, complete your regular single crochet, and then cut the yarn at the end of the row and fasten off. And now row 2 has been completed. So again, I like to mark off my rows to track my progress. So I'm going to draw a line through row 2, knowing that that has been completed. Okay, looking at row 3, you can see that it is going to be back to the original color of yarn. So I have my cream yarn here, and we're going to join with a traditional single crochet. Again, that's how we will start every single row. So go through both loops and join. And then work your traditional single crochet in that same stitch, going through the front and the back loop of that stitch. And now we're ready to start row 3. Okay, now if we look at row 3 here, as you can see, we've worked the first stitch as an anchor, and now we have a front loop anchored double crochet as our next stitch. So the next stitch we will drop down and work a front loop anchored double crochet. Then there will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back loop single crochets, and then another anchored double crochet. So we're going to work your front loop anchored double crochet. You're going to yarn over, you're going to drop down and work into that front loop from the stitch below and complete a double crochet. As you can see, that is now brought up to the same height as your single crochet here. Now you're going to work 5 back loop single crochets. So you're going to skip this stitch because essentially that's going to be your double crochet stitch, and now work a back loop single crochet. There's 1, oh my goodness, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're going to drop down and do another anchored. So here's the stitch. You're going to drop down and grab this right here. So yarn over, grab that front loop, and work your double crochet. Okay, so we've completed this double crochet. We're going to do a traditional back loop single crochet, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 front loop double crochets, back to your single crochet, and then a double crochet. So we're going to do a back loop single crochet, and then we have 4 front loop anchored double crochets. So drop down, grab that front loop. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to work our back loop at single crochet, and then another anchored double crochet. This is what we have so far. Okay, so we just completed this stitch right here in the row. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back loop single crochets and then a front loop anchored double. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to do our front loop anchored double crochet. Okay, and then we have 1 stitch left, and so we're going to work a traditional single crochet, working through both the front and the back loop. And then we're going to cut our yarn and fasten off. Okay, row 3 has been completed. Okay, so once again, row 3 has been completed. I draw my line and move up to row 4. Row 4, we're going to start with our alternating color, which is indicated right here. So we're going to join with a traditional single crochet in that first stitch. Going through both the front and the back loops and working a single crochet. Now if we look at our row, we're going to do a single crochet, the back loop single crochet, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 front loop anchor double crochets, back to a single crochet, which is in the back loop, back to a front loop double crochet. So let's begin row 4. So we've got our traditional back loop single crochet, and then we're going to do front loop double crochet. So again, we're going to drop down to the next row, grab that front loop, and work our double crochet. Another, let me grab some more yarn there. Front loop anchored double crochet, another front loop anchored double crochet, 2 more, front loop anchored double crochet, one more, front loop anchored double crochet, now a back loop single crochet, and then we're going to do our front loop anchored double crochet. Okay, so now looking at our row again, we've come out to this stitch right here. I'm going to mark that off, and we're just going to continue work across. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4 back loop single crochets, and then an anchored double crochet, back loop single crochet, and then 5 anchored double crochets, and then your back loop single crochet. So we're just going to continue to work those. So there's 4, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, working in the back loop. Now we're going to do our front loop anchored double crochet, back loop anchored crochet, or back loop single crochet, sorry, and then the front loop anchored double crochets. Oops, need more yarn here. Okay, and then we're going to do a back loop single crochet. And then for our last stitch of the row, a traditional single crochet, working through both the front and the back loops. We're going to fasten off and take a look at our work and move on to row 5. But first, let's go ahead and mark off our row 4. The fun part about Mosaic is after every single row, the look of your project kind of changes. So like right now, it kind of almost looks like that brown color is the main color. And after the next row, the cream will almost look like the main color. So it's just kind of fun to see the pattern come into play. Okay, I'm going to work one more row with you. We're going to go up to row 5 now. So again, row 5 is going to start off with your main color, and you're going to begin with a traditional single crochet. So once again, we're going to join our main color of yarn, and work a traditional single crochet to start your row off with. So as you can see in that first stitch of each row, you can see what color of yarn is being worked, which coordinates with this first stitch right here. Okay, so for row 5, we're going to work a front loop anchored double crochet, and then 5 back loop single crochets, 1 front loop anchored double crochet, a back loop single crochet. And then we're going to work our 4 center stitches as the anchored double crochet, and then come across the end of the row. So we're going to start, and once you start working patterns, you can kind of see how the patterns are developing. So front loop, double crochet, come down, grab that front loop, and then we got 5 back loop single crochets. So there's 1, whoops, oh my goodness, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll drop down and grab that front loop. Then our back loop single crochets, and then our front loop double crochets. I'll pick back up at the very end of the row. Okay, so we're at the last stitch of the row, and we're going to work a traditional single crochet, working through the front and back loops of that stitch. And we're going to fasten off our yarn. And we're ready to start the next row. So now, as you can see, now it almost looks like that cream color is our main color. So it's just kind of fun to see it build. So we're just going to continue to follow this chart, working all the way up through row 19. Okay, I'm finishing up my last row of the coaster, and I hope you guys have noticed how easy mosaic crochet is, and I hope you're not intimidated by it anymore. It's always kind of refreshing to see that it only consists of really 2 stitches, a back loop single crochet and a front loop anchored double crochet, and that's about it. So if you can get those 2 stitches down and learn how to read the charts, it's actually a pretty fun technique. It is unique and a little bit different, but I think you'll grow to enjoy working the stitches. So here is my coaster, all completed and crocheted. As you can see, there are these icky ends. This is kind of the dreaded end of the project that you need to complete. But I do have a video that is linked in the description below that will show you different ways that you can finish off the ends, and they all have a little bit of a different look to it. So I encourage you to click on that and see how you can hide the ends or use the ends as an accent to your crochet piece. So I hope this tutorial was helpful and that you learned how to crochet from the graph to create a beautiful mosaic piece.